returned from the tomb and told all things to the 11 and to all the rest. Watch this, watch this. It was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary, the mother of James, and the other women with them who told these things to the apostles. Come on, turn to your neighbor and say, if it hadn't been for the women. Come on here, somebody. Yeah. If. Am I in the house today? If it had not been for the women. Now let me tell you what's peculiar about this passage. The passage is punctuated and closes by saying, and they, the women, told all these things to the apostles. Don't miss this. And they, the women, told all these things to the apostles. Now, this is what's going to blow your mind. What's going to blow your mind is that when Jesus died, they were disciples. But when they received the news, the Bible is already calling them apostles, which means there's a graduation from disciple to apostle. But I want to argue that the apostles could not have been the apostles if they didn't have the gospel. And the gospel was the story of Jesus' resurrection, and they would not have had the story if it hadn't been. So you can imagine how I felt last February during Black History Month when $218 million was made in one weekend, featuring a relatively unknown and somewhat obscure character of the Marvel brand by the name of the Black. And while I'll confess to you that the dominant figures of the movie included T'Challa and Killmonger, turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, if it hadn't been for the women. Now, you know, Bosman and Jordan were great. They played their part. I could use superlatives. I can use superlatives to describe their characters, but I'm convinced that $218 million over the course of a single weekend, potential Oscar nominees, is only being made possible because of the women who are included in the story. Come on here, somebody. If you take Ramonda, Nakia, Okoye, Shuri, if you take them out of the story, you ain't got no movie. Listen, Okoye, whoo, Jane Degura, you know, she's this bald-headed warrior who's reported to be the greatest warrior in the history of Wakanda. All right. Well, watch this, watch this. I'm going somewhere, She gets hooked up with T'Challa, and they've got to go to Korea. They have to disguise themselves to get in the club. So Okoye puts on this headpiece. And she goes in the club, and when she gets in the club, the headpiece is aggravating her. And she says, in referring to the headpiece, she says, "This is ridiculous." Remember that? Now, here was my question. My question was, why did she feel that the headpiece was ridiculous? And I thought superficially that she was grieving the Western perception of beauty being imposed upon her. But then in the next scene, I saw something that helped me understand why she thought wearing the headpiece was ridiculous. Here's why. Because in the military, Brother Swilly, non-commissioned officers wear their rank on their sleeve. Commissioned officers wear their rank on their shoulder or on their collar. But in the movie, when you look at Okoye, there are 3 markings on her head. And in the movie, her rank is revealed by the markings on her head. So the reason she said that the headpiece is ridiculous is because it covers my rank. It covers who I am. And I'm trying to tell somebody, don't let nobody put anything on you that covers up who you are and your rank and your standing in the eyesight of God.